Good morning. Today we get to read Dogtown chapters 110 through 115. Chapter 110, Old Tricks. That night I was so hungry I had a hard time leaving kibble for Mouse, but I knew his brothers and sisters would be hungry too. So I set aside 7 kibbles. Then I licked my bowl and licked it again, then a third time, because why not? In some ways I was happy to be back. I complained about the basement being cold, but compared to the snow outside, it really wasn't bad. Anywho, placement in the basement was temporary. There were consequences. There were consequences to running away, but they wouldn't last long. I was management's lucky dog. She needed me. That night, up high in the rafters, in the dim light of one bulb up there, I saw the shadow of Mouse acting out our journey for his brothers and sisters. He performed the whole thing, culminating with the moment he stole the shrimp. When he was done, all his siblings clapped their little hands, and I yipped my appreciation. I was grateful for my friends at Dogtown, but I couldn't stop thinking about what Metalhead had said. Was it possible for the Professor Besser's sabbatical wasn't 6 months? Was it possible it lasted for a year? Mouse was more worried that I'd been set to the basement than I was. After he finished his performance, he brought out the deck of cards. He put out the 5 of hearts in my chain link fence. He was sure that would get me out of there. It worked so well before. But in the morning, management took out the card and locked up the deck. It was an old trick and it didn't work anymore. I'd have to wait till Wednesday night. My poker game rolled around. Then I'd be management's lucky dog and I'd get the run of the place again. Chapter 111, A Place in His Heart. When a metal dog misbehaves, they blame the manufacturer. When a real dog misbehaves, they blame the dog. Even so, Metalhead hasn't chosen to be the genius. It was management who made that call. Was it possible that metal dogs couldn't help who they were any more than we could? I no longer believed Metalhead was hopeless. Now, I thought he was courageous. He was a dog who would return to Jimmy's house to find out what had happened. It had been a painful journey, but when it was over, there was a place in that dog's heart for Quinn that hadn't been there before. Chapter 112, Waiting. The hours moved slowly in the basement. The hardest part of living down there was being separated from Metalhead. He'd earned himself a space on Reading Buddy Row, and because Metalhead was up there and I was in the basement, I would not get to see Quinn either. But Reading Buddy Day came and went. No Quinn. When Wednesday finally rolled around, I was pretty excited. This would be my last afternoon in the basement. After dinner, I waited by my gate for management to arrive. Chapter 113, Bear. Management never came. I soon found out why. When I was gone, Bear, the Jack Russell, had taken my spot under the poker table. Management had won big that night, so Bear was the dog who got to go to poker night. He was her lucky dog, not me. Chapter 114, Bootlicker. Bear was a bootlicker. A lot of us were bootlickers. But did he have to be a great reading buddy and a lucky poker dog too? Even though Bear had run of the place, he stayed close to management. He followed her wherever she went, and if he spotted anything out of order, he would yip in management's face until management saw it too. Management really liked that, I could tell. So Bear was off the books, and I was on them. My luck had finally run out. Chapter 115, My Affairs in Order. There I was in the basement, dreaming of blueberry pancakes. I'd imagined myself curled up in Jessie's fuzzy blanket, my head resting on her leg, only to find I was cuddling my water dish. In my dreams, I smelled the rich grass, pine trees, and potting soil of Sycamore Avenue. I stood on the porch, barking to protect the humans I loved. I'd wake up and Mouse would be there, staring down at me, his whiskers sagging. I realized that I had to get my affairs in order. Who would feed Mouse when I was gone? Metalhead said he would find a flesh and blood to help, but I didn't know if he had. I managed to get a message to Metalhead with Trooper, who had had a short stint in the basement for swallowing a hose bib. My message said Metalhead would need to make sure that there was always a flesh and blood who would share her kibbles with Mouse. Then a little blessing came my way. Mr. Molinari came to the basement with management. Would it be possible, Mr. Molinari said, for the metal dog to be put in the same pen where he was before? Quinn likes consistency. He's used to running down here. I want to make sure his first day back goes off without a hitch. Of course, management said. I'm glad to hear Quinn's coming back. You know, the weirdest thing happened. Remember how we couldn't find the book Quinn liked? Green Eggs and Ham, Mr. Molinari said. Right. You'll never guess who found it. The metal dog, Mr. Molinari said. How did you know? Management asked. Just a hunch. Mr. Molinari stroked his sideburns. Where did he come from anyway? He was a donation. They all are. This isn't a standard brand, he said. No, he looks like a do-it-yourself job. Somebody's pet project, I bet. Mr. Molinari nodded. I'll tell you what, there's something more to that dog than just wires and circus. Management leaned down to Pet Bear. I know what you mean. He seemed to really understand Quinn. This is why I love teaching. You can never tell what will reach a kid. There's an element of wonder to it all, you know, Mr. Molinari said as they walked away.